Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rob Hoffman. I am the district judge for the 452nd Judicial District Court out in the Western Hill Country, Edwards County, and your district, Senator Uresti, and my other 4 counties, including my home county of Mason County and Senator Perry's district. Thank you again for allowing me to testify here today. Thank you also to the committee for addressing the monumental task of working to improve the Texas foster care system. Along with many, many citizens across the state of Texas, I wish you great success in your endeavors. My court has jurisdiction over CPS cases, and prior to being appointed as the district judge by Governor Perry, I was a child protection court judge. During the past 15 years, like Judge Byrne, I've heard about 14,000 child protection hearings. Several of my counties were in the first foster care redesign area with Providence Corporation, which ultimately failed. Since that time, I've also been a member of the public-private partnership, like Judge McCown over at HHS. I'm also fortunate to serve as the vice chair for Justice Guzman at the Supreme Court Children's Commission, following Judge Byrne in that role. Again, let me say that I'm extremely hopeful for the success of Senate Bill 11 in improving foster care for our children. In rural Texas, besides CASA, I feel like that the caseworkers are the person in the courtroom who knows the most about their cases. In the event that contractors manage the tasks directly related with regards to the court process, I believe that judges across our state will be concerned with their own ability to ensure timely compliance with our statutory deadlines and other laws, especially enforcement through contempt on a non-party, that sticky issue that you talked about earlier, Senator. Now, we can all imagine the court process that requires contractors to do things such as prepare court reports and preparing for jury trials and answering discovery requests. But I want to talk to you today about some more detailed statutory responsibilities that have huge effects on our children. Things like getting adequate service on parents and securing payment for those services, getting cases transferred from county to county with regards to the Court of Continuing Jurisdiction, dealing with the Attorney General and parentage testing and compacts like the ICPC and UCCJEA, dealing with the Indian Child Welfare Act, numerous other minute details that require legal specificity in our courts, and mundane things as well, such as delivering orders from judges from one county to the other, and finally carrying out the orders of the 100 or so judges across the state of Texas that hear CPS cases. I think it's critical that contained within the legislation there is a requirement for the contractor to comply with court orders, and I'm not sure that that's in at this time. Failure of compliance would result in potentially no reasonable effort findings, such as Judge Byrne said. I think if judges across our state drilled down into each of these minute issues, it's fair to say that there would be concern across our state under the current version of Senate Bill 11 for judges to be able to manage dockets, to enforce their orders, and ultimately provide justice for Texas families. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge, for your testimony. Any questions?
Yeah,
Senator Schwartner.
fully intend that all court orders be followed. I believe can we call up the commissioner, the assistant commissioner?
Sure. Commissioner
From a contractual standpoint, I would like to see his opinion of
Assistant
that.
Commissioner, come on up. You can come on up.
The
We'll ask you the tough questions.
Yeah, we'll ask you the tough question.
He makes his way here.
That's fine.
The concerns raised by the esteemed judges regarding follow-through on court orders and how the agency might contractually obligate the SSCC and oversee that through the Quality Assurance Division as envisioned under this bill, your ability to make sure entities that already have contracts right now with the DFPS that have orders that change what that entity should be doing. How do we go about as a state managing the concerns and following through with what judges' orders are?
Well, I do think we have in the draft or request for applications in the integrated care coordination model that all court orders must be followed. So that would be a court order of any type that comes down. Now, in terms of the contractual enforcement of that, I would let Commissioner Woodruff.
I think the question, Senator, is if we are
Trevor, come on in.
If we're in court and all we have in court is a county attorney like our Williamson County attorney, we don't have a party to hold in contempt. We have their attorney present, but we don't have that party. And I know Trevor's researched that issue. And I think
the party that has legal standing, though, conservatorship, is the state still.
But the state's not in my understanding, the state is not in the courtroom. Their attorney is in the courtroom, and a contractor that they've contracted with is not in the courtroom. That the actual party is not in the courtroom. But Trevor can argue with me or disagree or enlighten me.
Identify yourself.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, Vice Chair, members, I would certainly not argue with the judge. I think we've heard that before this morning. So, and again, I apologize. I stepped out in the hall. I apologize. I was not present when you called.
Identify yourself again, please.
Yes, sir. Trevor Woodruff, Deputy Commissioner for DFPS. So the issue is that the vendor caseworker will be there, not the DFPS caseworker. Well, that doesn't mean that the department is off the hook. We are still responsible. We have times in which courts sometimes require regional directors or other members of staff to come to court before them. That would not end. I envision as part of the very robust quality assurance division that the bill calls for, there would be often, I think, in-court monitoring to ensure that the quality piece, of course, there's the contracting oversight, and then the quality piece, ensuring that the correct decisions are made in individual cases. So I don't believe that the fact that there wouldn't be a DFPS caseworker necessarily in the courtroom every time somehow diminishes the court's power to render orders or hold the department accountable.
Any retort? I mean,
Well, yesterday I had a hearing.
You're not going to agree with that, I understand.
Yesterday,
but-
I had a hearing in McCullough County. I'd ordered on December 7th that a family, some children have visitation with their parents. It was 8 weeks later. I'd ordered that to occur. It had occurred once only because the CASA volunteer and the attorney for the children made it occur. The department had failed to follow my order. At that time, I turned to the caseworker who was present there. I said, call the supervisor in Abilene. I want to talk to her on the phone right now on the bench. She picked up her phone, she called that person, that person's program director was there. I spoke to them on the bench. That problem was solved yesterday in court because I was able to speak directly to the state of Texas, the caseworker, that person's supervisor, a caseworker in another county.
Can you envision a system in which that caseworker, community-based, not outsourced, not delegated, but actually community involvement in a more collaborative manner, has even a stronger representation and stronger involvement with that child, to where when they come to court, they know everything about that child relative to what a state caseworker is, and how that would improve the welfare of that child.
Right.
And improve your ability to do your job, for that matter.
We would be talking about two different catchment areas in my particular circumstance that occurred yesterday. I would be calling a county in a different catchment area, a different contractor potentially, and so.
That doesn't, I mean, you can still give them to your court, or
But I couldn't have gotten them on the phone potentially that day. I had the person before me.
they don't have phones there?
I'm not sure if a caseworker from a private agency in Region 9 is going to know the caseworker phone number from another private agency of a contractor from another.
You don't think the state of Texas would have phone numbers that they could readily get available to you? No? That doesn't happen? That's kind of funny. As a doctor, sometimes I want other doctors' phone numbers, and sometimes that doesn't happen either. I appreciate, judges, for your input. And this is a tough issue. I understand it completely, and I do appreciate your point of view, especially since you were in charge of Region 2-9. We've learned a lot as we've gone through
Absolutely.
here, and I do think moving toward a more collaborative, community-based mechanism that engages, involves as much of the local community as possible, that empowers or transfers or allows involvement at the local level as much as possible from those that know those individuals the best, and can form a plan of care for that child that is the most appropriate, should be explored further. That's what we're doing.
I agree, and I wish you the greatest of success.
Thank you, sir. I
And
appreciate
y'all
it.
have written testimony you can give to the clerk as well. And I have a question, though, to the judges as well, though I guess following on Senator Shortner's questioning, let's assume you try to hold one of them in contempt. I guess they could raise the issue of you don't have jurisdiction over them.
I don't know how I can hold somebody in contempt. Maybe Trevor can enlighten me, but if I don't have a state actor in my courtroom before me, and the contractor is not a party, I may have their attorney. I'm not sure that I could hold them in contempt at that time. And urgency, as we all know, we've talked about, urgency is critical here.
The bill does require them, representatives from the SSCC, to be at hearings. As far as being held in contempt, would you like to speak to that as the remaining as a legal representation of the state.
Well, to be clear, sir, I don't serve as general counsel, so I don't officially represent the state, but
Well,
I
I
think
meant,
can
I meant
Yes, sir.
in that situation.
So
the-
this is going to sound rather funny, but quite frankly, who will be held in contempt is likely me. Okay? To the point, to the judge's point about getting somebody on the phone, I envisioned that the folks who are performing the contract monitoring and oversight piece of this, there will be a direct phone number, and the judge would call them, and then they would call me, and whatever needs to happen will happen. Otherwise, I will be in front of these judges. That's what I envision happening, sir.
You're going to be a busy man.
Well,
Yes, sir. I'd like-
yeah, this
And-
this
and
continues to
I'd
be an
like
issue
vote-
we're going to work out with the various interested parties, and it might come down to it, we put as much of the safeguards in place as possible. I don't know what exactly is going to happen regarding this issue.
Right.
I am all ears regarding the best way forward, and I do appreciate both your times.
Thank
to
you for
come
your
here
time.
today. Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you all.